and welcome everybody to Flicker Effect, episode 221. We're recording this on Sunday, July 2nd, 2017. I'm David Lott. Joining me is Bobby Jackson.
Hello, everybody.
Yasha Wilson.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
And Michelle Curry.
Hi, everyone.
As always, just a reminder for everyone listening, you can find this podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, the iHeartRadio app. You can search for us by just searching for Flicker Effect. That's 2 words. We also post these podcasts on YouTube. If that's your thing, you can go to youtube.com/Flicker Effect. How's it going, guys? How's your week been? It's been a while. Unlike the last 2 episodes, which were only 10 minutes apart, it's actually been a week.
Right. Right.
Hey, happy 4th of July, everybody.
Yeah.
Getting ready to gear up for Tuesday, so happy 4th.
Happy 4th.
America.
Yes, right around the corner.
America.
I feel like we probably talked about this last year, but I'm going to bring it up again. Does everybody have like a movie they like to watch on July 4th? Is it like, I need to see this on the 4th kind of thing?
Independence Day.
Boom.
Michelle throws her hand up.
All right, maybe not, but it should be watched almost as religiously as Die Hard on Christmas.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if I have maybe like a 4th of July movie. I can be like, oh, this is about the 4th of July, or it's really Americanic or whatever, patriotic, blah, blah, blah.
Well, no, any movie that you would watch on.
I don't have to watch it every year, but I definitely do enjoy watching Independence Day on the 4th of July, or at least like a day before it, like. And I think it's because for me, like, one, it's, does in theory take place over Independence Day at some point in time in life, right? But 2, like, I remember when this film came out, and like it came out over the 4th of July weekend, huge blockbuster. Like, I was a kid living on a military base, and so I watched it in the makeshift movie theater that the military base had, which is basically an old like Air Force hangar, and they converted it. So it was this huge hall, right? And you're there, and you're with all these military people and their families and kids and guys in like literally in their camo, like military. And so like, it's fun for me. Like, I watch it and I have these flashback memories to that summer, and like we watched that film, and then we all went out to the big band field and watched the fireworks, and then we all like ran chaos all over the base. It was a lot of fun. And so like, I always have this memory of 4th of July from that year specifically, along with that film. And it was just, I don't know, it does it for me. It gives me the feels inside. It makes me all warm and cuddly. Makes me feel like the 4th of July.
You got anything, Bobby?
Yeah, usually if I don't have any plans to go to any barbecues or do anything in particular, I end up getting stuck in the house watching Twilight Zone Marathon on Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that, man. I get sucked into that too. It's like a black hole.
I didn't know that was a thing on Sci-Fi.
I did not. Oh,
there are some episodes that just suck you in, and you're like, this was so brilliant and so ahead of its time, it's not even funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Would you say, Michelle, you didn't know that they do that?
I did not.
Oh, yeah. Every I believe it's every 4th of July, and one other time I think they'll do it. But specifically, I know Sci-Fi Channel does it every year on 4th of July.
I also have not had cable or satellite television in...
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
it's only be 8 years at this point.
I'm only recently back into that fold, and it's not really cable. I started subscribing to PlayStation View, but yeah, I didn't know that.
I did not either.
Yep.
That's awesome, though.
It is. I've seen the episodes so many times.
Right.
It's still to this day my favorite show of all time, TV show of all time, and I have watched those episodes so many times, but yet every single time it still pulls me in. It's just like Yasha said, it's just so brilliant and ahead of its time, and they're just still such good little lessons, which that's why I kept for the longest time always bringing up Black Mirror, because it's the second closest thing to me having Twilight Zone again when I watched that series. So it's always been something for me that I gravitate towards. Anytime I see it on TV, I just will sit there and just start watching the episode.
I never made that association, but you're absolutely right. Black Mirror is quite close to the Twilight Zone I think that you could possibly get with television today.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
It's technology based with Black Mirror.
You have a favorite episode, Bobby?
I was just about to ask that.
What you were going to ask me that, Michelle?
We were both about that. Yeah, I guess I just beat her to it.
What it was I was gonna ask, like, almost like us talking about it provokes me to be like, oh, does anybody have like one favorite episode that they could be like, this one's probably my most standout, like most watched episode I've seen from Twilight Show?
There's quite a few, but one of my favorites probably. There's two really, but I guess if I had to edge out one, probably my favorite is How to Serve Man.
Give us a quick little synopsis.
Yeah, synopsis, please.
So there's this one day, everybody's sort of going about their business, and these aliens arrive on Earth, and there are these huge, gigantic, like really super tall guys with these big heads, and they don't really talk, but they kind of use telepathy to conversate. And they're just telling everyone, the planet Earth, like, we're here to basically make your planet a better place. We can stop famine. We can make the wars go away, and everything will be at peace, and the planet will be in a way that's a utopia. And it's the Twilight Zone, so something else happens, but I won't say.
Okay. What about you, Michelle?
I'm actually Googling because I couldn't tell you like what the title of it is, and that's what I was kind of trying to Google if I could. I want to say it is. Okay, yeah, it's this one. It's called The Hitchhiker. And it's this woman who's driving, and she's just driving down a road, and she keeps seeing this guy on the side of the road, this hitchhiker guy, and kind of keeps coming up and kind of keeps coming up. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about it. Like, she stops at one point at a gas station. I don't know. There's just these really weird events that kind of keep happening to her, and I don't know. It's just one of those. It's one of those, like, I watch it, and every time I watch it, I'm like, huh. Maybe I should not be such a jerk. Because it's like everything just kind of comes back around to you eventually. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. It's a good episode. That one sticks out for me. There's a bunch, but that one's really good. There's have you seen the one where the guy like is going through his town and like I don't know. I can't even describe it. Anyways, there's just so many. They're all really good. But yeah, The Hitchhiker is probably one of my favorite ones.
Did you have one, Yasha? Because you didn't say.
Yeah, like Michelle, there's a bunch of them that kind of stick out, but I mean, there's only a couple that really stick out in my head, and I don't know if there's it was because of the people that are in it and acting it, but one of them is Talking Tina still creeps me out today. Like that storyline is just so creepy, especially the last line of that. It's just brilliant. I think it's Timmy or Tommy makes a wish, or Tom wish him away, where he's controlling this whole house. Yeah. Because whatever he wishes actually does happen. And he wished his sister to never make a noise again, and it basically took her mouth away. That always creeped me out. And then there's one with William Shatner where he and his girlfriend or whatever were at this diner, and they were feeding nickels or whatever into this thing, and it's supposed to tell you the future,
the fortune.
And they weren't able to leave the town, but then they just kind of came to the realization is like, are we making the decision to stay in the town, or is the machine making the decision to stay in the town? Why don't we just leave and not do the machine again? And then this another couple comes in and they're like completely captured by this little toy that's telling them whether or not they can leave the town that day. It was super, I don't know, it just messed my head. It was just really, I mean, but then again, I was a little kid when I watched those, and I mean, I still, that fear kind of still resonates with me, or creepiness resonates with me today when I watch it now, even, as an adult. So, but those are some of the ones that I can go on and on because, as Bobby said, and I've said, it's like, they were so brilliant and so ahead of their time. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. David, do you have any?
Nah, I mean, I like Twilight Zone, but I'm not as familiar with it. It's been so long since I've watched any, and I remember watching it as a kid, but nah. Like, I mean, you got even some of the episodes you guys have now mentioned, a couple of them, like, okay, yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. But I don't remember them enough to go, oh yeah, I remember this one vividly. This was my favorite. I couldn't say.
I love the one with the slot machine. That one's amazing. And how the slot machine just haunts this guy, this gambler. That one's awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then there's the one where the man is in a hospital and people around him keep disappearing. And then at the end of the episode, it's this huge like bombshell, like just about this man who has been in the hospital and like everyone slowly disappears kind of around him. That one's really cool. But then like there's the one where the guy goes to outer space and basically the choice is either send the guy that's stuck on whatever planet it is back in his spaceship, or he goes and then he gets conned out of it and he winds up sticking, and then like another 50 years goes by and another person shows up and it's a whole nother situation kind of like revolves around again. That's a good one. And then
I like it.
Huh?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. I was going to chime in. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the other one that is probably, that could be like, I know for sure I love, it's called Time Enough at Last. And that one I think everybody kind of remembers. It's the one where the guy is constantly wishing for more time to basically be at his leisure and read books and do whatever he wants to do with his life. And he finally gets left alone by all the people and he's surrounded by billions and billions of books and his glasses fall off his face and then he steps on them. And there's nobody around to fix them. And he can't read anything.
I like the one
so
also where the chick goes to the department store and all the mannequins start to come alive and she doesn't realize that she's a mannequin.
Yes.
And they all take turns leaving and she took her turn and she just forgot that she was a mannequin, so she never came back. Like that was pretty messed up.
Yeah. That one's a good one too. God, there's so many good ones. Okay. Anyways,
I know we could go on and on about
4th of July, Twilight Zone people, tune
Let's
in.
just say we all enjoyed the show. Okay, let's just sum it up. Like, yes, we all enjoyed Twilight Zone.
So that's what I'll be doing on the 4th of July.
Very nice.
Bobby's watching Twilight Zone on the 4th of July, and Yasha and I'll be watching Independence Day.
Very good. Very good.
Goddamn right, America!
We will survive. I used to know that speech by heart, and just now my mind just went blank. Oh, go! Oh, do it, Yasha, do it, do the speech.
You can do the whole speech.
Today, we celebrate our Independence Day. I'm sorry, I don't know the whole speech. Michelle.
That was good though.
I can look it up.
We're going to
it's
survive.
Like, please don't.
You can
Please
end the
don't.
you can end the episode. You can talk us out with the speech.
Oh yeah. You know what? That would be really good into the 4th of July. America. Although, you know what I did find out today? David has never seen like Disney's animated versions of like the Paul Bunyan story or Johnny Appleseed.
Whoa.
Or the Casey and the Train. Am I crazy in this thought that I'm like, wow, you never seen those?
That's wild.
Have you seen those, Bobby?
I've seen a couple of them. I think I've seen Paul Bunyan and Johnny Appleseed, but the other one she mentioned doesn't sound familiar. Actually,
No, they didn't sound familiar to me. Yet.
Casey and the train where he's trying to get to the train station on time.
Yeah, that one. I don't
Sorry.
think.
Casey, and then there's another one. It's called Casey at Bat,
Wow.
and it's about the baseball teams facing off. It's the traditional American Casey at Bat dueling the Mudville Slingers. Wow. Okay, so anyways, so those I have to say those are really enjoyable around the 4th of July because they're kind of Americana, like tall tale stories that we all kind of, I guess maybe not all of us, grew up with either reading, learning, or watching these Disney animated versions that came out back in the 50s and 60s. So they've been around for a while, but I kind of like watching those around the 4th of July because it makes me feel like, yeah, that's right. This is where we came from. This is like this is our heritage stories, you know, like, yeah, life lessons.
I'll have to check them out.
You will.
I will.
And that's going to happen because I own them. So that's happening.
All right.
Nice.
Sounds good to me.
Sorry. David has a favorite 4th of July movie.
I do. I think I mentioned it last year. I watch 1776 every year. The 1972 musical, I think it is. I think it's 72.
You just couldn't wait till the centennial, huh?
No.
Man. They held out a few more years. It would have been really cool and special. But no.
Nope.
At first, I thought you were talking about Patriots Day, and I was like, wait, no, that's not. No.
Ooh, the Patriot's a good one for the 4th of July.
Would you say
Mel Gibson,
Michelle?
the Patriot? Yeah.
Yeah. The Patriot.
It's been a while since I've seen that.
I've got that one too. We can watch that.
I think that's the one that I think that's around the time I lived in Charleston. That's the one they filmed up in Charleston,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So I remember that being kind of a big deal at the time, being up in
They were
Charleston,
all over South Carolina.
Yeah.
All over South Carolina for that one.
Anyway, yeah, 1776. That's my friend turned me on to that a while back, and I don't know, I just love it. I like the music. I dig that movie.
It's super entertaining.
It is. I'll start things off by jumping right into the box office numbers. Number one this week was Despicable Me 3. Easily. And that's not too much of a shock. I pulled in a little over 75 million this weekend. Anybody see Despicable Me 3? No, I don't think so.
No. I usually see those movies, but I just slacked on this one. I just haven't had a chance. I'll see it. But
I will say I have not heard a damn thing about response to that movie, if it's good or bad.
I have.
And
so the review I got was not as cuddly, warm-hearted, and fulfilling as the other two. However, it still had some good points to it at the end. So they were still enjoyable, but definitely not the best of the work. So apparently the Minions obviously are a big highlight again. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, that was the review I heard. They're kind of like, the whole brother thing was kind of, but.
I mean, yeah, I like the Despicable Me movies. The second one's definitely not as good as the first one.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know. When I saw the trailer for this one, I thought the concept seemed really stupid. And
he's got a brother magically all of a sudden. His mom just never mentioned
They were just reaching. Just felt like they were reaching.
Yeah.
It was like, what can we do to kind of milk this cow just a little bit more?
Right.
So.
Yeah, looking at Rotten Tomatoes, it is rocking a 63%. So
ooh,
it's fresh technically, but it's right there near the edge.
But that's pretty low for a Despicable Me film.
Yeah.
Because the first one I think is pretty highly rated.
Let's see what the consensus is, or whatever they call it. Yeah, critics' consensus is Despicable Me 3 should keep fans of the franchise consistently entertained with another round of colorful animation and zany, albeit somewhat scattershot humor.
Yeah. I mean, I think what worked about the first one that I liked the most was that family dynamic, and when they show Gru with his daughters, and how he helped changed him, and just it was adorable in that way, that it was very much about this family that was unorthodox and how it worked together. So I guess maybe they're trying to recapture that in a way by having this brother, but I think it's best focused if maybe even if Gru was to maybe take a slight step back, and if it was more centered around the daughters, the girls, and something with them, maybe a storyline centered around them somehow. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh well. What was number two? Number two was Baby Driver. And it looks like an even 21 million. But that did get a Wednesday release, so its total gross so far is a hair over 30 million. So nothing spectacular.
On a budget of 34 million, so
not a huge budget. So I believe we have all seen Baby Driver. Is this true?
Yeah.
Yes, we've all seen the film. I think I have been probably expecting it the most. Bobby, it sounds like I don't know. It sounds like you were also pretty hyped up for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I am a huge fan of Edgar Wright, and I have liked. I don't know. Have you guys ever seen Spaced?
I have. You two actually turned me on to that, Bobby.
Oh yeah. So way back in the day, Spaced is one of my favorite shows for the longest time, and I know, like, I don't know if everyone had that sort of familiar sensibility in terms of it's very pop culture oriented, and it had Simon Pegg in it, and it had Nick Frost in it, and Edgar Wright was director, and so it was this British TV show that lasted like 2 or 3 years, and I would highly recommend seeing it if you're a fan of Edgar Wright stuff, or if you like Simon Pegg stuff, and just seeing how they kind of first started out. And it's very funny. Yeah. And so I've been a fan of his since back in the day. And so when he started making movies, I'd been on board, and this was the latest one of his that I was waiting to see, because it's not like he has a huge resume of movies, even though he's been around for quite a while. So it's almost like, in a weird way, an event when he releases a movie, if you're a fan of his, because he doesn't do it very often.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't know. I consider him one of probably the most talented directors working, and I think of him somewhat like a Quentin Tarantino, and he kind of works in the same way where he takes his time between films. And yeah, same thing, like a Quentin Tarantino film comes out and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be there night of, the first showing. And same thing with this. It's like, you don't see Edgar Wright movies coming out all the time. And he seems to pump a little more kind of heart into the stuff he does, I feel like, than a lot of other directors. So yeah, they're like more of a special event, it seems like. But yeah, this is the first film he's made since the Ant-Man debacle. And so that makes this the first film he's made since The World's End, which I think came out in like 2013, if I remember correctly. So it's been a little while. And yeah, I've been pretty pumped up about seeing this. Saw the Tuesday night showing, and now it's weird. Like there was a Tuesday night showing, and I'm like, God, it feels like it's been forever since I've seen this. Normally, I see a movie much closer to us actually recording. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what you guys thought. I haven't talked to you, Michelle, about it, but it did not disappoint. It was excellent. I quite loved the film. I would say it was easily one of the best films I've seen this year. I mean, I haven't sat and decided if it is the best film I've seen this year, but it is way the fuck up there.
I mean, we're July 2nd, and you're
yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was quite impressed with it. It seems like it's getting a lot of similar reaction. I mean, it's got a 97% right now, Rotten Tomatoes. It's 191 fresh reviews, only 5 rotten reviews.
Wow.
It's doing quite well. Yeah, I don't know. It
I feel like Yasha's been saying wow.
I know. I makes me curious to know what Yasha's gonna have to say about this.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like any other Edgar Wright movie I've watched, I can tell that he meticulously just composes every shot just the way he wants, and he does everything. I don't know. He pours so much into it, and you can just tell. And the way he uses music in all of his movies, especially this movie, but he does this in every film. But this movie, he really capitalizes on music. And I love directors that find a unique way to handle their music in their films. And this is like the perfect example of that kind of work.
What's Baby Driver about, David?
Baby Driver is about the lead character is played by Ansel Elgort. This is the first time I've seen him in anything. I guess he is probably best known for The Fault in Our Stars. Am I getting that title right?
And the Divergent series, yeah.
Yeah, he was in the Divergent series, but I know he had the lead role, right? In Fault in Our Stars.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd never seen him in anything before. I had no experience with this actor. He plays Baby, who is a getaway driver for... we have Kevin Spacey in the film. He basically sets up heists, and he always kind of working with different people. But Baby is his go-to getaway driver, and that's kind of the basis of the film. I mean, I could go much deeper into it, but yeah, I don't know, dude. I definitely was not disappointed whatsoever in this movie, and my expectations were pretty through the roof.
Yeah.
So no, it was right there. But I have to jump right to Yasha now before I go any farther because I want to know what you thought, Yasha.
Wow. Yeah.
First, let me say I am happy. I'm very happy that it met all your expectations, David. Like I really am. Like there's nothing worse than looking forward to going to see a movie and then being disappointed in the outcome. I think we've all experienced that, so we don't need to talk about that. I enjoyed the movie. I felt like it was trying to be cooler than it really was, and I don't know why I got that impression of it, but I did. I really did enjoy the music. I loved how the movie and the music. I love how he coordinated certain beats to shots and movements throughout the entire film. I thought that was just brilliant, and I loved it. I've already downloaded the soundtrack and have listened to it a couple of times since I've seen the movie. I saw it on I believe it was Thursday night, and I've been listening to the soundtrack ever since then because the soundtrack is amazing. Like, and that to me really makes the movie. It was very creative. I did get some moments where I was surprised, especially with how big the John Hamm's character was, Buddy. Fantastic seeing him as a bad guy. And I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I may have had a little bit of a negative comment there, but I definitely would recommend this movie to people because I really enjoyed it. And the music for me was the hero of the film, and I loved it. I loved all the music that they played. It was really nice. It almost kind of reminded me a little bit of Tarantino-ish because, we all know that Tarantino does amazing job picking out different songs to add to the story and make the story carry the story along, and even personality to each character when he plays a certain song. And I felt like this was no exception. It really kind of resonated with me when he was doing that, and it was brilliant. It was really good. Kevin Spacey was great. John Hamm was great. Even John Ansel Elgort, I didn't think he was amazing, but he played the character really well, and so I thought it was good. John Barenthal was really fun to watch. I did enjoy it, so it was pretty good.
Bobby, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say probably second to you. I've been anticipating this movie, as we sort of talked about, and I think it definitely lived up to a lot of my expectations for it, because it just knowing what was put into the effort into making this film makes it such an achievement, just because, as you said, he had the whole Ant-Man debacle, and to sort of come off of that and regroup and be able to make this film, it makes it all worth it, everything that he had to go through in order to be able to bring this to screen. So as you both alluded to, there's a lot of things that happen with the beat and the music. And so there's this sense of like pacing that really makes it a type of thing where it's a living part of the movie is the music, and the amount of filming that must have had to go on, but being able to time these things out perfectly is probably, I can't imagine. But I mean, he had to work it out in his head. He had to actually film it and make it work in the way that he had it in his head. And so much to the point where I was curious about that. So after I watched the movie, I went online and looked at different interviews and behind the scenes, and saw the cast sort of explaining how he was able to go about shooting this movie. And it really made me sit there in awe of like everything he had to put into being able to make this seem effortless. And it was just like, okay, now I think I need to see it again after knowing what he had to do and how he was able to shoot certain things and the way things go down. So I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to go watch it again, probably tomorrow, just because now I have sort of fresh eyes to see it with. And I would say if there's the only things that I would say that were negative to me were, for the most part of the movie, everything works really, really well. And it feels very much high stakes and a grounded reality of a world that we live in. But then there's points where John Hamm keeps coming back from the dead, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, now it's starting to delve into a different world, so to speak. And I was kind of like, well, it would have been nice if he died the first time, or maybe even the second time, and then we move past that and go on, more towards what the eventual ending was. But it was just that little aspect of John Hamm sort of being like this unkillable thing that bothered me a little bit. But aside from that, I mean, it was pretty next to near, I wouldn't say perfect, but because no movie's perfect, but next to near anything that I would say is as close to a flawless movie as you can have, because it all worked so really well based on everything he had to do to be able to make the film.
Michelle, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think you for sure know, but I think a lot of people know. Like, I kind of have like lukewarm feelings when it comes to Edgar Wright films, and I'm saying that, and I don't want people to be like, oh, she doesn't like Edgar Wright. Like, I'm kind of lukewarm on his stuff that I've seen. Like, and again, I know you guys think it's sacrilegious that I think this, but like, Shaun of the Dead was okay. It doesn't wow me a lot. I know, and we've had this discussion, and I know this is, if you guys, I know you guys think I'm crazy. I know you do. But
Michelle, we don't need that.
Huh. But I mean,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Okay. But having said that, like I enjoy Hot Fuzz, like, which I know is, to a lot of people, they're like, really? You liked that more than you like Shaun of the Dead? And I'm like, actually I did. Like, I don't know why, but I enjoy Hot Fuzz more. And I realize it's, for a lot of people, it's weird to them. And now, downside is I've not seen The World's End yet, and I'd like to see that one, actually, because I'm curious to see how the whole thing wraps up. But Baby Driver,
Would you?
No, please go ahead.
No, sorry. You were talking about some of his films, and then I was just going to ask, what did you think of Scott Pilgrim?
Oh, Scott Pilgrim. David and I have an argument about this. I'm zero impressed with Scott Pilgrim whatsoever.
Oh no! Really?
It hurts me deep down inside.
Oh no!
And I'm saying I'm unimpressed, and I'm not saying I hate it. Like, I don't think I'm unimpressed by it. Like, that movie, I just was kind of like, it just does nothing for me.
Wow. Okay, so now I'm ready to hear what you think of Baby Driver.
I know. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I have a lukewarm thing with Edgar Wright. Like, I don't dislike his stuff. It's just kind of hot and hit and miss kind of with me, I guess.
Trust me, every time she says the Scott Pilgrim thing, I think I lose 2 years off my life. It's getting close. I'm going to die soon at this point.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
It
Go
just does
ahead.
nothing for me. I know it hurts you because I
it
know
does.
you love that film. I know you love that film. And that's why I was like, I remember just watching it going, God, he's going to be so mad when I tell him this is doing nothing for me. I'm like, this is going to kill him. Anyway, so Baby Driver. When it comes down to it, this film was spectacular. Like, it delivers on so many different levels. Obviously, number one for certain is definitely the music, which all three of you already said. But he frames the music just in such a spectacular way that it is like a whole nother character to this film. It's probably the character of this film. And everyone else is just kind of playing second fiddle at this point. I think when it comes to the storyline, I think it flowed exceptionally well. Like, everything would just... I don't know. I didn't at any point question anything. Like, why is this happening? Wait, why is this doing this? This makes no sense. I feel like the storyline doesn't have any holes, yada, 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 yada. Having said that, though, one of my biggest things was and I don't know if it was actually Jamie Foxx per se, but I was just not down with his character that much.
Oh, no shit, really?
Yeah. And I'm thinking it's actually more Jamie Foxx's perception of that character, like the way he delivered it. I think is actually more my thing with it. I know. I would say that was a highlight. I mean,
really? There's a million highlights in this movie, but right. It was nice to see that he had a role where he's obviously not the lead, and among basically all these kind of villains you have, he's not even not really a spoiler, but he's not like one of the bigger characters in this, and you could tell he had almost kind of fun with that. I thought that he could kind of really just kind of sink his teeth into it and just kind of do what he wants with the movie. I don't know, with the role. That's the reaction I got. But anyway, please go on.
And I don't know. It was the one thing for me that was kind of a sore thumb for me. And I can't even really give you I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way. I was just kind of like, maybe it's just a little too overkill. And again, I don't know if it was quite the character. I think it was just Jamie. And I say that, and I like Jamie Foxx. I think he's a good actor because I've seen him in some good stuff. I've seen him in some bad stuff. But I've seen him do some really great things. John Hamm, I'm kind of, with Bobby on the whole, the way his character kind of played out. But I have to say, though, I like the way each character was kind of written for the most part. Like, I liked seeing the glimmers of depths to each different personality. And then I feel like, and even with Doc, with Kevin Spacey's character, like I feel like you're going, oh, I get this character. Like just as you start to go, oh, I get this character and I know what their motives are, blah, 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 blah. There's a table that turns for each of them and you're like, oh, wait. And then they completely change, you know, the coin completely flips to the other side. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, I was not expecting that. And some people went positive in some ways and some people went negative from where they were. And it was just, I liked that was unexpected for me. Like I was like, wow, I was not expecting their characters to flip like this. And I think they all kind of did in a way. And I really enjoyed the ending. I'm not going to give anything away, but I feel like the ending was based. It was nice to see an ending based in a realistic, and I'm saying realistic based on what you see happen in this film. It's a realistic scenario of what would actually kind of happen in life. Like it's not this happy little fairy tale of into the sunset on the back of the knight and shining armor on the horse thing. Like it's a realistic ending to a story. Like that's probably how shit would go down. Like, you know, and I like that. I like that it was like, oh, cool. It's not just this altruistic, spectacular, grandiose, you know, sun setting behind them in the west kind of situation. And I like that. It's nice. It's refreshing to see that. But yeah, and like, I mean, there was violence in the film, but I don't think anything is overly violent in a way. I don't think it's overly grotesque too much in any way at all, really. But it was just the right amount, and things were done well. And you know, it's funny. I know we've said that the music is spectacular. I almost want to like stand up and clap for the stunt people that they had for this film. The driving stunts in this film are spectacular. Like, they didn't CGI any of it. Like, it's not like watching like a Fast and the Furious. You're literally watching. This is all total. These are people driving these cars, making them do these really spectacular things, and it was awesome. And there was just such a beautiful ballet at one point as they're driving through Atlanta in really two major car chases. The one from the beginning of the film. And the one, the midway point with Jamie Foxx's crew. And like you're watching, I'm like, gee, amazing. Just absolutely spectacular stunt driving. I've never seen any stunt driving like that in my life. And it was awesome to see on film. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I will agree with you on that. That was pretty impressive watching that.
I mean, considering that's what the film's about, is a guy that drives a car. The stunts were on point, dude. Period. That's all I got. Otherwise, yeah, no, I love Baby Driver. So for me, Edgar Wright did it for me again. Finally, I'm like, see, like this one win. Yay, good job, Edgar. Yay.
Then it sounds like this is easily your favorite Edgar Wright.
I would say this is easily my favorite Edgar Wright film for certain. Gotcha. Definitely. Yes. I still need to watch The World's End. Yeah. So I still need to watch that. So who knows? Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's where I'm at with Edgar Wright.
Cool. Bobby, were you just
where does it rank? Yeah, I was going to say, where does it rank for you, David?
Oh, see, I mean, I hadn't even thought about that.
Oh, but Scott Pilgrim.
I don't know if I don't know. That's tough. I mean, first of all, I'd like to see Baby Driver again before I really like put it in that kind of ranking, you know. But because I mean, yeah, Michelle's right. I love Scott Pilgrim. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those movies that I could watch repeatedly, and every time I watch it, I still enjoy it. If not, enjoy it even more than I did before. And there's not a lot of movies that I could say that about, and that's just one of them. I don't know. I just adore that film, and I like all of his movies. Mm-hmm. So I mean, but I guess I would say at this point it'd be a competition between Scott Pilgrim and Baby Driver. But I mean, Baby Driver was excellent. I mean, I don't know if I could say that yet.
Right.
Why do you have a spot you would put it in, Bobby?
Just sort of. On initial thought, it'd probably be third for me.
Gotcha.
And that's like it's weird to rank his movies because he has so few, and it makes it seem as though it's 3 out of 6 or 5 or whatever the case, and it makes it sound bad, but it's not. It's just that I hold Shaun of the Dead in such high esteem that's like been my number one of his forever, and Scott Pilgrim is just like slightly right underneath that. And then Baby Driver for me would be slightly right underneath Scott Pilgrim. So
gotcha.
That's kind of how it shakes out for me. They're all very close to each other.
Right. I will say real quick, one thing that popped in my head. I feel like an argument could be made that at least one of the trailers for Baby Driver, maybe in the end, I feel like kind of showed too much.
No, I only saw the one.
Hmm?
I only watched the one trailer.
Well, so did I.
First trailer.
I only watched the first, at least full-length trailer, whatever that was. I know there was a more recent trailer that came out, and I never saw it. I have now seen it. I watched it recently, but after I saw the movie. But and it wasn't so much that I think it showed maybe too much. It was that maybe for me, I saw the trailer too many times in the theater where I kind of couldn't avoid it. And certain scenes, then after you see a trailer enough times, if I'd only ever seen the trailer once, I'd have been fine. But it starts to ingrain, like scenes start to ingrain. So indeed, as I watched Baby Driver, and I'm saying this while also admitting in the end it didn't really matter. But yeah, like as something was about to happen, I knew it was coming because I was like, well, I know what's about to happen right now. I saw the shot in the trailer. I know this is what's going to take place. And even one or two of those moments weren't big shockers. Anybody, even if you hadn't watched the trailer, you probably could have figured that out yourself. But I don't know. This is an example, I feel like, of a movie that I'd be curious to know if Edgar Wright probably watched that trailer and went, God damn you people. Like, why did you put this shot in there? Why'd you put that in there? You know? But in the end, it wasn't like some other movies where the trailer kind of ruined it for me. This didn't ruin it. It didn't matter. The movie was too good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But,
I know after watching it too, and as I was watching it, because I have seen Ansel and The Fault in Our Stars, and The Divergent, but it was Divergent, right?
He was in
all of those movies?
Yeah, he was in all the films, the 4 that had been out.
Yeah, and I only saw the first Divergent movie, but I liked him from the first time I saw him in The Fault in Our Stars. And when his name was in contention to be Han Solo, I was like, yes, please. Like, I enjoy him. And so I think he would be great. And then we ended up with Aaron Reich. I don't know if I say his name right out every time, but when we ended up getting him, it was like I was unfamiliar with his stuff because I hadn't seen him in anything. So I was just kind of like, oh, well, that's kind of a bummer. And then when I see Ansel show up in Baby Driver, I swear he's wearing a shirt that's so reminiscent of like Han Solo with the blue and the white that he's wearing. I was like, I wonder if
he's wearing a hoodie that he has a hoodie that literally V's right in the perfect spot where Han's like vest kind of does. And it's a little lighter than Han's vest color is, but it's this hoodie that he wears through a lot of the film, and it looks like it totally looks like a Han vest. It just kind of works out that way for sure.
Well, I mean, we could talk about Baby Driver for a while, but before we know it, we're going to run out of time. Real quick, because there are a couple more things we definitely need to get to. Another new release this weekend was The House. Did anybody see that?
No.
Okay.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I had a feeling Yasha was going to say he did.
I was waiting for that. I was like, that was a long pause, man. He's getting dramatic on this.
What'd you think of The House? Which, by the way, House was number 6 at the box office this weekend with $9 million. But real quick, what'd you think of it?
It deserved to be number 6. It was rather disappointing, relatively corny. I actually started to doze off in it at one point. It was not that great. I was kind of disappointed in the outcome.
Amy Poehler, you'd think you'd get something, some kind of chemistry happening there, but
yeah, you really expect a lot from Amy Poehler and Will Ferrell, and you don't really get that much. The one guy he was rather funny. He was in The League. His name is escaping me right now.
Jason.
Yeah. He was funny. I mean, it did have moments where it did make me laugh, but it was kind of uneventful. It's definitely a movie you can wait for on home video.
Right.
And that's pretty much all you can say about it. Like, it's exactly what you expect, and then a little bit, cheesier. And that's about it. I mean, it was not that great to begin with.
Yeah.
So you don't really miss out on much.
Cool.
It deserved to be number 6.
Good to know.
Gotta save my money.
Real quick, I wanted to mention last night I watched Okja on Netflix.
I did too.
Nice.
Me too.
Oh, sweet. Sorry, Michelle.
I fail.
Yeah, I just watched it last night. I think it hit Netflix just 2 days ago. I think on the 28th or whenever it was. But anyway, that's a new film. It's a Netflix original directed by Bong Joon-ho, if I'm saying his name correctly, Korean director. He most recently directed Snowpiercer. He also directed The Host. Okja is about basically this company is trying to create this super pig. Not trying to, they have, and they have different farmers around the world who are raising these super pigs to see who, I guess, basically does the best job. Of course, these pigs are, the plan is for them to be eventually, like, you know, used as livestock to be eaten. But the film's about a girl. We see an example of one farmer who has raised a super pig, and his daughter has a relationship with this animal. And we got a lot of actors in it. Again, just like in Snowpiercer, Tilda Swinton makes an appearance in this. She's got a pretty big role. You've also got Paul Dano in it, and Jake Gyllenhaal. And I don't know what you guys thought, but I liked the film. I liked the film quite a bit. I thought it was really good. There's moments toward the end of the movie that it was kind of heart-wrenching. And my wife and I, who were watching it together, we were like, one particular scene that I won't talk about, we were both like, oh my God, this is awful. And but I liked the movie. I'm curious to know what you guys thought. Bobby, what'd you think?
Yeah, I liked it too. And for me, I've seen all of, I guess I think I've seen all of Bong Joon-ho's movies, as you mentioned, The Host and also Snowpiercer and now this. I'm sure there must be some other stuff that he's done that I haven't seen, maybe in Korea. But as far as the American English type movies that he's done, I've seen, I guess technically The Host isn't one, but I've seen that one. And I enjoyed this one as well, and it's interesting because he seems to make very original films that just don't have a lot of comparison points in the sense he might choose some sort of specific genre, but all of his movies seem to have some sort of social commentary to them if you think about it and look at it. And this is no different, and it's a sort of a commentary on the way we eat, essentially, and what we're eating. And yeah, I'll agree that it was kind of rough to watch in a sense. There's definitely some lighthearted, whimsical things, and I really actually enjoyed Paul Dano's character in this as well. He puts in some solid work in here. And there's just this interesting dynamic between the young actress in this and Okja. It's sort of like that sort of template if you were to take the story of a young kid and their fill in the blank, whether in Transformers it's the car or in something like E.T. it's the alien. It's sort of that sort of dynamic working. And you get that fun, but then there's also the danger element, like same what you would get with ET and some the government trying to hunt down this alien. Or in this, it's these people who essentially own Okja are trying to take her away, from the young girl. And I don't know if David's talking about the same scene as I'm thinking of, but I would say there's like towards the end, like a whole 15, 20 minutes. That's just like, oh man, this is rough. I almost want to fast forward past all this because it's so hard to watch in a sense, because it's it gets pretty real. And I think it's definitely something that I had a feeling like if I have to tell someone should they watch it or not, I think I would have to give them a lot of pretense to it and have to sort of prep them for what they're going to see, because it could be a little bit hard, especially for people who are really big animal lovers and are proponents of sort of that lifestyle. So it would be really hard for someone of that nature to watch it if it was hard for me to watch it. So there's a lot of elements in play here, and I really thought it was well done and another good one that I've seen from the director Bong. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
I mean, yeah, there was a good chunk of time, I think, like you're saying, Bobby, that it was kind of hard to watch. But the scene in particular is, and I think it would be rough for anybody, but especially if you're a parent. The one particular scene I'm thinking of, I was just like, oh my God, if you're a parent, it was rough. Yeah. Anyway, Yasha, what'd you think?
I think, first off, excuse me, all the people that we talked about being in this film, Tilda Swinton, Jake Gyllenhaal, Paul Dano, Giancarlo Esposito should be mentioned. But most notably, I think I don't know if you mentioned Seo Hyun An, the little girl that plays Mija.
Basically, I can't pronounce her name, so I just skip her.
What's that?
You just skipped over her entirely.
No, you're absolutely right. I was just joking that since I can't pronounce her name, I skipped her.
Oh, okay. Oh. But she was so unbelievably athletic throughout the entire duration of the film. Like, that little girl was running. So bravo to her. She was fantastic in this movie. But you got it right, Bobby. I mean, I was watching this sandwich while I was trying to eat dinner, and I would like to mention what I was eating. It just happened to be a sausage sandwich.
Oh, nice.
Sitting there towards the end of it, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done eating for tonight. Because the last 20 to 30 minutes of the film, it gets very, very real and quite graphic in some senses. And you just know that's pretty much probably how it goes when a lot of our food is being prepped. The movie was beautiful. I mean, I thought it was real. What's that?
It's funny. It's the same director as Snowpiercer. That's why I'm just like, I'm sitting here just going, noticing a trend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he really has a talent of bringing out some of the best from the people that he works with, because Tilda Swinton was fantastic in this film again. Jake Gyllenhaal was really, really good. Just kind of a sleazy, washed-up animal guy. And like I said, Seo Hyun An, the lead actress, the little girl, she was fantastic in the movie as well as Paul Dano. Paul Dano was just brilliant, but I think he's good in just about everything that he does. And the movie, it was beautiful. Like, you look at a lot of the scenes, there are parts where it's just 5 minutes of the little girl and Okja just walking around playing and having this unspoken interaction with each other. And it was really, really nice to watch. And the director does pretty much blatantly throw out messages to you while you're watching this film. And it didn't disappoint. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. Like, it was great.
Very nice. So basically, Michelle, we don't know if we recommend it to you or not, even though it's very good.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love it. Michelle, I would love for you to watch it, because I think honestly, overall, you would enjoy it. However, it is dark, and it gets pretty dark, but it has very sweet moments where you're just kind of like, oh, that was really beautiful. That was really a really nice moment. So but yeah, it is a pretty dark. It is. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It is a pretty dark movie. There's parts of it where it's just pretty dark. Yeah, that's all I can say. It's pretty real. And like I said, the director throws out blatant messages and to the storyline, to like what humanity is going. It's almost like reminiscent of some of Neil Blomkamp's films, where it's like the message isn't even like blanketed. It's very direct. And you're just kind of like, oh yeah, okay, I can see that, and see why you would want that message to be out there, but disguising it as art. But it was really good. Like, it was a really beautiful story, I thought. Like, it was really nice.
Cool. All right, I want to move into our new segment that we kind of kickstarted last episode, but now we'll be the first time we're really getting into it, and that is, I believe we're calling I Challenge You. In this segment, and it started with Yasha last week. He was able to challenge one of us to watch a movie that, say, we didn't want to see, we had never seen for whatever reason, or a TV show. And he chose to challenge you, Michelle, to watch Looper, which it doesn't sound like it was a case that you didn't want to see Looper, you just hadn't seen it.
Right.
So now you get to let us know. You have now watched Looper this week. You get to let us know what you thought, and then you get to challenge somebody else. So
yeah. So
you have the floor.
It's definitely like you said. Like I wanted to see Looper, and just for whatever reasons in the cosmos, just have not seen Looper. And I know that you three held Looper pretty high in stances. I know you do for sure, David. I know Yasha does. Bobby, you really like it a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you guys. It's up there for you. So let me start it by saying I definitely need to see this movie again, a second viewing. Like this needs to happen. And then the other thing I want to say is that, I guess I'll just say it. I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed it a lot. I can't even say I liked it. Like there was a lot that I liked. I'm wondering if maybe there might have not just have been a smidge too much built up around Looper for me, just between your guys' loving it so much.
A little too high.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You guys loving it so much, and then because Rian Johnson is directing the next Star Wars, there's a lot of hype on him right now. So I mean, I try to go into a film without expectations, without getting my hopes too high on things, and I feel like for the most part I really didn't. But I was looking forward to seeing this film. Like when Yasha said that, I was like, actually great. I kind of need an excuse to just put this movie on. Like that needs to happen. Great, awesome. So here's my quick little review then. So basically, I'll say when the movie first starts, that opening segment is really strong, and I liked it a lot. Like I was like, damn, you're gonna open a movie. Holy hell, that was intense. And then I gotta say, yeah, the first act was very kind of wishy-washy for me. I have a lot of issues with. I just feel like you were catapulted into the future, and they're putting you in this. They're putting you in the way the world is, without a ton of explanation. Not that you need a ton of explanation, but it's really kind of glossed over. And again, I need to see this film a second time. I feel like it was really glossed over really quickly. And then it was just like, wow, it's really stark in what you're getting as far as like where society is. Like what you're seeing visually. Like, Jesus, like what the, like, geez, like the fall of civilization has happened. Like it's crazy. And I'm like, okay. So I think for me, it just kind of felt like I needed to have either a lot more understanding of what happened to bring our world to where the world was looking in his vision, or I needed to have less of the vision of the world. Does that make sense? Like I needed to understand more of it, or I needed to have more of it taken away. Like,
Okay.
It was distracting to me. Like that was one of the reasons I was very wishy-washy on this first act. Like it was really distracting to me. In the second act, I don't know. I think a lot of my issues are the whole portion of Bruce Willis's life and the way it goes down. I was just kind of like, why am I supposed to care? I had a hard time going, okay. But then somewhere around the second act kind of gets its footing again. And then I thought the third act was awesome. Like I highly enjoyed the ending of it. Like I think it ended really strong. I think really from the moment Joseph Gordon-Levitt gets to the farm, from that point on, I was in. I was like, okay, I'm in. Down. Super down with this film. Loving it. I think visually it is spectacular. I think it's edited very well. Like it is just done. Like the shots are beautiful. The cinematography, the sound editing is really good. Like there's a lot of process. Like the storyline, I think as a whole for a storyline is good. I just feel like it's either not enough or they need to take away some things. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also listening to your review, and as someone who, I would say loved, I guess, Looper. I mean, I liked it a lot. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since I've watched Looper. So, I mean, especially if you start to get into more details of like this act and that act. And I mean, I remember the film, don't get me wrong, but it's like now I kind of want to watch it again to kind of see what
that's
you're
kind of
talking
where
about.
I'm at too, because I haven't seen it in a while.
It's been a while since I've watched the movie, and I've
you.
actually been wanting to watch it again, especially considering, with the next Star Wars film coming out.
Right. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I will say that. Like, there was just some things I'm like, oh, I just feel like there was just things that weren't quite necessary. There's a whole character, and I'm not even joking. There's literally a whole character you could toss out the books. Like, he does not need to be in this film. He is just stupid. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I was like, he's not necessary. Like, every time I would go back and analyze, like, did we need him in this scene? And I would analyze the scene. I'm like, not at all. Like, he was just a toss away dude. I'm like, his character was just not necessary and just drove me insane every time he'd pop up on the freaking screen, especially towards the end. I was like, Jesus, can we just kill this motherfucker? So, and as a whole, I feel like the movie flowed really well, but I would say there's probably 10 to 13 minutes of the film that could just completely be tossed. So yeah, but I enjoyed it. I'm really glad I finally got to see this film. And again, I say I really would like to watch this film again because I definitely think it denotes at least a second viewing to give a full like oh my God, this is a masterpiece, you know? Like, but I like there's just enough edge of sci-fi to it, and I enjoyed that a lot. And yeah, I mean, it was an enjoyable film. I think it just has a few weird, quirky things for me that it took a while before I was like I said, especially because that first opening sequence was like, Jesus. And I was like, oh man, they are setting this bad boy up for good stuff. And then it was like, wow, this isn't going as well as I thought this was going to be going. So I was kind of up and down with this one, but overall, very happy with Looper.
Very cool. Glad you liked it.
So, yeah.
Me too.
Sorry, I didn't mean to just kind of keep rambling about it. It was just,
No.
That's where I'm at with it. So, I get to challenge somebody.
Yeah, you get to challenge somebody now.
And you guys have been so helpful with helping me make a decision.
You try. Hey, I've got a long list now.
God. You guys are super, super helpful. I love it so much.
Sounds like sarcasm.
What?
I feel like that's sarcasm.
She's
Yeah,
never
I feel like
sarcastic.
that's what that is.
Me? Sarcastic?
No way.
Why never? Okay, so I challenge you. I challenge Bobby to a film.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
all right.
I'm going to be honest, like, again, like, you guys were very helpful in helping me figure this out today.
We try.
I know. I had forgotten, and I do now. It's slowly coming back to me, having our conversations about Wes Anderson films. And I kind of forgotten that Bobby really hasn't seen very many of them.
Nope.
And it's funny because as I look through the catalog, I'm like, I've actually seen quite a lot of these. But if I had to pick, yeah, it's going to be a Wes Anderson film, BT dubs. That's definitely happening for you. That's definitely happening for you. So you said you've seen Life Aquatic, right?
I have seen that one, yeah.
And then you've seen, what was the other
I've
one?
seen Rushmore also.
Okay.
Which is funny. That's one of the few I have not seen. I have not seen Rushmore.
Right. So I'm kind of torn because I'm torn between asking you about a film that I've seen and really, really enjoy, or making you watch one that I haven't seen but I've heard good things about.
Oh,
Decisions.
Right. It is interesting because I'd be curious to see what your take is. And it'd be one of those things like I'd be listening to you just being like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I haven't seen it, but I've heard good things.
I'm looking at this list now, trying to think, like, if this were me, what would I tell him to watch? I don't know.
But I think what I'm going to go with is one that I have seen and actually enjoyed quite a lot. And that's Grand Budapest Hotel.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
bravo.
I almost went with Moonrise Kingdom. But I have not seen Moonrise Kingdom. But David, I know, likes it a lot.
I loved Moonrise Kingdom.
Right.
Yeah, I remember David talking about that
Yeah,
one.
I was pleasantly surprised by it. I mean, I don't know. I just remember from trailers being like, okay, it's Wes Anderson. Sure, I want to see it for that. But I wasn't exactly like, there was anything about it that was compelling for me. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, wow, I don't know. I liked it a lot. Anyway.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm the same boat. That's like, I think that's why I haven't watched it. Because I'm like, it's Wes Anderson. I'll go see it. But it's also not compelling enough for me to want to see it like right now. But no, Grand Budapest, I think I enjoyed that one a lot. I think it was my top 10 list.
I think it was,
came
yeah.
out. So yeah. No, I'm going to challenge Bobby to Grand Budapest.
All right. Sounds good.
have been
That's a good one, Bobby. That's
I
a
think
good
I
one.
have some time here, so I can probably knock that out
are you
before
on a-
this little 4th of July weekend is over.
I was going to say, are you in a glorious 4-day weekend?
I am.
Me too. It's like magic.
Technically, it's been like 5, but yeah.
5. That's awesome. My God, I don't even know if I'd show back to work then and be like, yeah,
Right.
it's been 5 days. I'm out. Have a good day.
Well, we're pretty much out of time, but really quick, I want to ask everybody your thoughts briefly. We got our first look at the Inhumans show that is coming on ABC and I guess IMAX theaters for the first, 2 episodes of that show. And what did everybody think? Yasha, what'd you think?
I mean, it looks cool. I'll watch it. I don't know much about the Inhumans, so that might be why I'm not super hyped or excited about it. But I mean, it looks cool. It looks interesting. The parts that I do know about, I was hoping to see, and I did. Like the dog kind of jumping out there, and I don't remember his name. See, I don't even remember the name of the character.
Lockjaw.
But
Lockjaw.
yeah, Lockjaw. Thank you. I'm interested. It looks kind of cool. I'll definitely give it a shot. You know, that's pretty much that's as hyped as I can get about it.
Michelle, you watched it, right?
Yeah, I saw the trailer. And I also don't know a lot about the Inhumans. Pardon me. I also don't know a ton about the Inhumans. But I don't know. The trailer I didn't think was very strong for me. But I'm curious to see the show. Like, I mean, it'll be happening. I'll my 3 episode
Right, yeah,
rule, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
Right.
So,
Bobby?
Basically disappointed. It still has a ABC sheen to it, and I was hoping it would look a little bit more cinematic, especially being that the first 2 episodes are in IMAX. So I'll still watch it in IMAX, and hopefully that even if it doesn't look quite the way I want it to, I'm hoping that the storyline is strong enough that it still kind of hooks me into the show as a whole.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I'm trying to tell myself, like, look, Dave, like, let's think of this like this were just any show, and if I didn't have a background with it, if I were like, oh, cool, it's going to be kind of a sci-fi show on a network, cool, it would be a good show. But I can't help but go, man, I would have loved to have seen this as a movie. I would have loved it to have that look, you know, and it just doesn't. It looks like an ABC show or just a television show in general. You know, I'm not trying to knock ABC, but you know, it just looks like a network TV show. I mean, even if this had been more of a Netflix show or an HBO show, I would have been like, okay, I could dig this. But no, it's got a network show look to it. And I'm like, and yeah, there's nothing about this trailer, I think, that would appeal to anyone who doesn't know anything about the Inhumans. I think most people would, even if they're like, oh, cool, Marvel, I feel like you'd look at it and be like, oh, okay. I mean, you don't really get a good sense, like you said, Yasha, and I guess Michelle, like, you know, like, what is this? You know, unless you've been watching, I guess, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and obviously there's been the Inhumans aspect of that, but I don't know. It's kind of a disappointment, and I still say Medusa's hair, it looks ridiculous. That wig just looks, I don't know what, I mean, especially considering her hair is so important. Like, you know, that's kind of her thing, and the wig just looks so kind of lame. Anyway, but I mean, Lockjaw looks cool, sure, but I mean, we don't see a lot of them, and yeah, I don't know I don't know who that actor is that's playing Black Bolt, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I thought it would have, especially considering, like you said, that it's filmed on IMAX cameras, at least for those first 2 episodes, it would have had a different look, and it just does not.
no.
But of course, I will go to an IMAX theater and I will watch it in IMAX, and
Yes, you
I will be there.
Yeah, if for nothing else, it's the novelty of it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe things better can come from that, if assuming it doesn't turn out to be good. But like, at least they could say, oh, well, it actually worked in this sense, so maybe we can do some other things like that and maybe improve where it didn't, if that's the case.
Yeah. You sound like
Real quick before we get out of
yeah.
here, because I know we're ready to head out. I just want to give a shout out to the newest Netflix series to debut, which is Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling Glow, starring Allison Brie, and Mark Maron is also in it, who's very funny in the show so far. I've watched about 6 episodes, and there's 10 episodes, and they're 30 minutes apiece, so it's real easy binging. And also one of the standouts in it is Betty Gilpin. I've seen her in a couple other things, but I can't think of specifically. She's really good in it. But it's about wrestling federation thing that they organized back in the 80s of just all women. And it's pretty great.
And you were going to say something, Michelle?
I'll say I've got the speech.
Oh, the speech that Yasha was going to close us out on.
I mean, I could say, although Yasha's voice is much sexier than mine.
I had it up and I took it away.
I could totally do it. I won't even do the whole thing because it's. But if you want, I can. Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I had autofill. I can do it. I got it right now. What part? Where do you want me to pick up on?
I mean, I was going to pick up at we can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore, because I feel like there's such a tone to this now, especially in our like current like political like atmosphere. I'm like reading this. I'm like, Jesus, this is taking on a whole nother level now. I'm like, oh my God.
Go for it, Michelle.
Oh, you want?
I'll
you
go
should
for
do it. You've got a better voice.
Go
You
for
got
it.
Okay. All right. Huh? So, happy 4th of July, everybody. Here goes.
America.
We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interests. Perhaps it's the fate that today is the 4th of July, and you will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We are fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanquish without a fight. We're going to live. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Hear, hear.
Yay,
And that's
4th
why
of
that
July.
movie gets shown every 4th of July.
I
Very
just dare
nice.
an alien to come over here and start some shit.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying.
All right, we're going to get out of here. Make sure to subscribe and like our podcasts. Comment over there on iTunes. It will help people find our show. So please comment and like the show and follow us and do all that jazz. And we are 18 days away from San Diego Comic-Con.
Comic-Con!
So it is almost here. We will be there once again, doing lots of coverage from that. So we'll be talking more about Comic-Con as it gets closer. I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Yasha Wilson.
And I'm Michelle Curry.
Thanks for listening.